Like, what do you tell people like who don't run in these circles what you do for a living? And I usually tell them that I run a website where I teach people how to take care of their pools and hot tubs. And then the conversation's like, "Oh, cool. Next thing." I don't I don't own a pool. I don't care. I started that in 2004, 2006, and I've been literally doing that for over 10 years, and that is my flagship thing. And from there, I'd started a personal finance podcast called Listen Money Matters with my friend Andrew and business partner. I did it for the first year or two and then left for a couple years and then came back. So now we're doing it again together. Those two are my biggest projects. And then I have a site called moneylab.co where the idea there was to take all of these things that I was kind of doing behind the scenes, with Swim University, with Listen Money Matters, with all these other side projects that I have. I had a site called Roasty Coffee. That was a niche site that I ended up selling in 2018 and to, I think, somebody we both know. And I started a homebrewing website. And it's so my whole thing is like, for those who are, I guess a roundabout way, I run a digital media company. So we do digital media and we make money through affiliate links, our own digital products, and sometimes sponsorships.
Couple things jump out at me there. So number one, you started doing websites, affiliate marketing in 2005-ish.
Yeah, 4.
How did you get started? Do you remember the first time you were like, hey, this is a thing I can get into?
It wasn't even that. So I was in a band. I didn't go to college. So I was in a band instead. And we needed a website. This is before MySpace. So if there's any like context of where we are in the timeline of the internet, before MySpace. And we needed a website. I was working at this pool store, which is why I have the pool site, because I've been in the pool industry since I was 13. So like that so I was sitting in the pool store. I was in a rock band. We needed a website. And I was like, okay, well, we couldn't afford a website designer. My dad had bought me a computer for the college I was supposed to go to and ended up dropping out in 2 weeks, twice. And I decided to learn HTML and CSS, just like to build my band's website. So I did that. And then I was at work, like double checking it on the computers at work. And my boss caught me doing that. Where he was went back to the history because he's a psychopath and was like, who was looking up this site? No, and he obviously, my face is on like the homepage, and he's like, is this yours? I'm like, obviously. He goes, did you make it? I was like, yeah. He's like, okay, and like walked away, and then hired me the next day to do the company's website. So I started doing the company's website, and then I started doing other websites, and I ended up getting a job as a website designer at another firm, and then got hired back to be the marketing director of that company, of the pool company. So from there, I was like, well, okay, I know how to design websites. I know how to build them. I know a lot about pools. There's a website here. I can do something with this. And that's when I had the idea for Swim University. I started looking up, how am I going to make money at this? Like, how does this make money? And I found out about AdSense. I was like, oh, AdSense, got it. And then I found out about affiliate marketing. And I think at the time, was it Google DoubleClick or something?
It's before my time, but that is a thing.
It was. Well, I know it's a thing. They still use it for YouTube. But
legacy,
Yeah. There was an affiliate, like, kind of like Linkshare.
Sure.
Or I guess that's not called Linkshare anymore. It's called, I don't even know how to say that. How do you say that?
It confuses me, but they have commercials. It's like
right.
Ratatouille.
No, that's a food. Rakuten. I don't know.
People are like, you guys are idiots.
Yeah, right.
That's true.
But it was sort of like that, but Google had ran it, and that was what I was using for affiliate links. And the way that I did it then was, my idea was, okay, if you're reading an article about pool algae, like how to get rid of pool algae, at the bottom I would have 4 recommended products for performing that action. And I did that all manually, like individual HTML files for each article, and manually put those all in.
Got it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to jump deep into the weeds just for a second, and then we'll come back up.
Favorite place to go.
So a lot of times I hear from people and they're like, I have an informational article. Can I recommend products? And the answer is exactly what you said. Yeah. Yes, 100%, because they have a problem and you're like, here's how you can solve it. And by the way, here's how you can do it faster, easier, cheaper.
Right.
It's a no-brainer.
When you boil it down to that is all affiliate marketing is. It can be. The ones who stand the test of time, that's what they do. Right? The ones that just kind of like throw a dildo site together and just like, I'm going to try to make money quickly, they end up failing very quickly.
Right. Unless they
unless they like write
really
very
have
informational.
yeah. So there's a couple other things that your intro just triggered.
Yeah.
And one is like you're very number one, you're super authentic in some of the early content that I saw from you back in like 2014, 2015. Is that when you started Money Lab roughly?
Something like that. 2015 maybe?
Okay.
2016? I don't know.
So I saw some of the early
Yeah.
stuff and I was like, man, he's so like genuine, charismatic,
Uh,
and authentic.
Thank you.
And going deeper, you even, you're telling us about Swim University, you
Mhm.
talk about the other sites. So what makes you so comfortable to share the sites that you're working on?
I never understood why people were uncomfortable.
Okay.
I know why my business partner Andrew, he has a few secret sites that he will not reveal on our show or won't reveal in, anything that we do because he's deathly afraid of competition. He thinks he found this little like, niche, which he did, and he doesn't want to give the secret away. Especially to an audience of people who do this and can do it well. So, I don't have any fear of competition at all. I've never had. I'm not a competitive person. I'm not into sports. If people come over to play video games, I'm like, good, you won. I'm like, I don't care. If we play card games or board games, I'm so fine losing. I'm just not a competitive person. And I think that's why I don't mind sharing, because the other reason I don't mind sharing, it's much harder to hide than it is to share. I always criticize myself for not being a good writer. I didn't go to college. I failed every English class in high school. I got better. Like I tried to understand grammar because I do like writing. It's only when I can just, like free flow. If I have to write about pool algae, that's a little tougher because like, even though I know it, which is why I started the site, it's like, I don't really have to go and research. Like I know what I've told people for, 15, 20 years. Like, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. It has worked for thousands of pool owners. I just recite that in my own words on the internet. And I think the reason I come off authentically is because I don't have an education in grammar. So I only know how to write like I talk. I've never been formally trained. I don't know how to sound smart. So I just learned how to use semicolons, and I'm like, I'm trying not to use them because I don't want to come off pretentious. And although I used them in a couple of articles I just did because I was like, it's fitting. It's, especially like timing for jokes. But yeah, I think it's because I didn't like, I wasn't good at formal writing that I wrote free, what do they call that? Like free association, kind of like
Sure.
free form. And then I go back and I clean up the editing and the grammar and stuff.
Okay. So it's like stream of consciousness.
That's what it is. Stream of consciousness. I write that way and then I go back, or I'll usually do it while I'm doing it. So like I might write a paragraph or two and then look at those paragraphs and go, okay, how can I make the sentence shorter? Or how can I say the same thing but faster? Or how can I pepper in a joke or a funnier word? And that was when I started Money Lab. We do that on Swim University and my other sites, but I dislike it. It's like,
Sure.
but on Money Lab, it's easy for me to just go like, this is what I'm working on. Like, this is just everything I do. It's kind of like TMI, but I always said like, the reason I started Money Lab is because like those are the things I love watching behind the scenes videos about anything. That to me is way more educational than somebody telling me how they do something. Just show me how you do it. I just want to see your process.
And yeah, so you have a ton of case studies, and I think that is a much easier, maybe less formal way instead of like a course or
a
like
how-to
classwork. Yeah.
Right. I can write a how-to, but it's so draining for me to do. That's why now I can finally hire writers and go, okay, thank God I don't have to write about pool algae anymore. This is great.
Yeah.
But before that's why I was doing all of that stuff. And it's so funny because, somebody who did fail every English class and who did drop out of college because of an English teacher who failed me on a how-to article, this is what I ended up doing for a living. So I feel like it's really hard for me to recommend college to people when this thing happens to me. But, obviously I got into a thing that you don't really need a college education for, but some things you do, like doctors, lawyers, they need to go.
Right. Right.